Welcome back to the Christian Hadith channel. Today we will look at the little tiff going on between the character called Mohammed Hijab and a lady called Miryam Francois. There seems to be a thing between these two people about things like the head cover for women. The first thing is this head cover for women. It is not Islamic at all. The head cover is borrowed from the Jews and the Christians. You will see here an image of Mother Teresa wearing her neat head covering. Clearly the head cover is plagiarized from the Jews and the Christians. Christianity is 2,000 years old. Judaism is much older by another 3,000 years. The head cover is certainly not in Islam. And neither is the head cover found in the Quran. Before we go further, let us repeat the fact that there is absolutely no connection between the Quran and the practice of Islam. There is no connection whatsoever. There is not one thing a Muslim does in his daily life as a Muslim that can be found exactly in the Quran. The Jewish and Christian head cover is a good example. Mohammed Hijab should explain how come the word hijab is mentioned 8 times in the Quran, but none of these 8 occurrences of the word hijab in these 8 verses in the Quran are connected in any way to the idea of women's head cover. The word hijab does not mean a head cover. Hijab literally means a barrier. For example, the word hijab is mentioned in Surah 17 verse 45, where it says, "When you read the Quran, then we make between you and between those who do not believe in the Akhirat a hijab or barrier that is closed." This is the real usage of the word hijab in the Quran. So there is a hijab or barrier between the people who believe and uphold the Quran and those who do not believe in the Quran. Like Mohammed Hijab, Ali Dawa, Hamza Zortsis, Yasir Kadi, and Asim al-Hakim. There is a hijab or barrier between these people and the Muslims. This is also why Mohammed Hijab does not dare to refer to any of these 8 verses in the Quran when he talks about the hijab as a head cover for women, because there is no such thing in the Quran. Remember that the Quran has got absolutely nothing to do with Islam. Mohammed Hijab is simply living up to his name, Mohammed Hijab. There is a hijab or barrier between him and the Quran. Nowhere in the Quran does it say that a woman has to cover her head or her hair. The operative word is not hijab, or niqab, or head, or hair. The operative word is nakedness, or arat in Arabic. Arat means the private parts, or nakedness, of both women and men. This is the operative word. Now let's see this next verse from the Quran. Surah 24 verse 31, which is often quoted by the mullahs and by Mohammed Hijab. This is quite a long verse in the Quran. There are 2 important points in this verse. Firstly, the mullahs twist the reading and the meaning of the earlier point. The verse begins with, "Tell the believing women to lower their gaze and guard their chastity, and not to reveal their beauty, except what is obvious from it. Let them cast their outer garments over their bosom." This part, "cast their outer garments over their bosoms," has been twisted by the mullahs through verbal gymnastics to become, "cover your head." The word humur refers to coverings or outer garments. The Arabic word for veil is niqab, which is also not mentioned here. Plus, the word hijab is not mentioned here either. So hijab and niqab are both not mentioned here. And there is no mention of the word head or rayas. Instead, what is stated here is juyub, which means bosom or chest or breast or cleavage. It simply means women have to be modest. Women have to pull their coverings or kumur over their juyub or their bosom. There is absolutely no mention of hijab, niqab, hair or head. Here is the Arabic text of Surah 24 verse 31 as well. Towards the end of Surah 24:31. It says that women can expose their awrat, or private parts or nakedness, to young children who are unaware of. What is women's nakedness? The Arabic word used is awrat. Of course women should not show their nakedness, or awrat, to older children who already understand what is nakedness. A mother may expose her nakedness to her toddlers. But once her children become older, a mother will not expose her nakedness to older children. Most certainly then, a woman's hair on her head cannot be part of her awrat or her nakedness. If a woman's hair is part of her awrat or nakedness, then mothers throughout the Muslim world cannot expose their hair to their older children, even inside their own homes. If a woman's hair is part of her awrat, or her nakedness, all Muslim mothers must cover their heads 24/7, even inside their houses. To say that the hair on a woman's head is part of her awrat, or her nakedness, and therefore a woman has to cover her hair, is just ignorance. Here is Mother Teresa again, wearing her head cover. And these are Orthodox Jewish women, wearing the full niqab, or burqa. Mother Teresa's head cover comes from 1 Corinthians. From the Bible. The Quran is very clear. If you follow the Jews, and the Christians, they will turn you back, to being kafir. It is not the duty of the Muslims to follow Jewish and biblical teachings. Mohammed Hijab will be very familiar with this hadith. Whoever imitates a people will be from them. So if you imitate the Jews and Christians, you become one of them.